Attacking players usually hog the headlines in the football world, but preventing goals is just as important as scoring them. Here are the top 10 goalkeepers of all time. Lev Yashin. Lev Yashin remains the only keeper to have won the Ballon d'Or. In 1963, he got his hands on the prize ahead of a trio of world-class attackers, Johnny Rivera, Jimmy Greaves and Dennis Law. Yashin was nicknamed the Black Spider because of his dark goalkeeper shirt and his stunning reflexes. He spent his entire career at Dynamo Moscow and won 74 caps for the Soviet Union, including 2 at Euro 1960, when the USSR became the first ever European champions. Yashin was ahead of his time. He closed down strikers in one-on-ones and barked orders at his defence. We take these things for granted in 2021, but they were very rare in the 60s and 70s. Between 1950 and 1970, Yashin kept over 270 clean sheets and saved more than 150 penalties. Many see him as the goalkeeping GOAT. Gianluigi Buffon. Gianluigi Buffon will be celebrating his 44th birthday soon, but the evergreen Italian is still playing football. The Juventus legend is now back where it all started. He's rejoined Parma over 25 years after his debut for the club. Buffon's won 11 league titles during his career, including one with PSG. He was also a key part of the Italy team that won the World Cup in 2006. His performances that summer were superb. Buffon only conceded 2 goals and kept 5 clean sheets in 7 games. He almost matched Yashin's achievement of winning the Ballon d'Or, but Buffon finished second to Italy teammate Fabio Cannavaro. If he hadn't been so loyal to Juventus, he might have won the prize. Buffon spent the 06-07 season in Serie B following Juve's relegation. Buffon was a brilliant all-round keeper. He made great saves, he claimed crosses, he played with his feet, and he was a natural-born leader. At his peak, the legendary Italian didn't have any weaknesses. Iker Casillas. For many years, Iker Casillas and Gianluigi Buffon were recognized as the 2 best keepers in the world. While Buffon was a symbol of Juventus, Casillas was a Real Madrid icon who became the club's #1 while he was still a teenager. Buffon was probably a better all-rounder, but when it came to shot-stopping, Casillas was the king. He was quick and agile, and his reflexes were out of this world. The Spaniard regularly pulled off saves that looked impossible to make. Casillas won 6 league titles, 3 Champions Leagues, the World Cup and the European Championship. Very few players in football history have a record as good as his. Oh, and if that wasn't enough, Casillas has also kept more clean sheets than any other keeper in Champions League history. Manuel Neuer. Manuel Neuer has won virtually everything there is to win as a footballer. He's lifted the Champions League trophy twice, the World Cup once, and the Bundesliga 9 times. That's an impressive medal collection. But Neuer hasn't just been successful, he's been influential too. He's one of those players who's revolutionized his position. Neuer wasn't the first keeper to rush outside his penalty area or to play the ball with his feet, but the German took the concept of a sweeper keeper to a whole new level. Remember his performance against Algeria in the 2014 World Cup? Neuer regularly came sprinting out of his penalty area to clean up behind his defence. Without him, Germany would have been knocked out before the quarter-finals. The Bayern Munich legend also excels in stopping shots and claiming crosses, but he'll go down in history for his role in transforming what it means to be a goalkeeper. Peter Schmeichel. Eric Cantona's usually seen as the signing that made Manchester United great again, and that's fair enough, but Peter Schmeichel's impact was almost as big. Alex Ferguson brought the goalkeeper to the club in 1991. By the time he left 8 years later, Schmeichel had helped United to win 5 Premier League titles, 3 FA Cups, and the Champions League. Schmeichel was nicknamed the Great Dane because of his intimidating presence between the posts. His famous star jump technique helped him save many shots from close range. Schmeichel was also a strong figure inside the dressing room. His character and mentality made him an ideal fit for Ferguson's United. He's still widely regarded as the greatest goalkeeper in Premier League history. Oliver Kahn. For most of the 1990s and the 2000s, it was impossible to think about Bayern Munich or Germany without picturing Oliver Kahn. The blonde-haired goalkeeper played over 600 games for Bayern, winning 8 Bundesliga titles and a Champions League along the way. At international level, Kahn won Euro '96 and was voted player of the tournament when Germany finished as World Cup runners-up in 2002. That's right, he won the award ahead of Ronaldo. They say you have to be crazy to be a goalkeeper, and Kahn was definitely an eccentric character. He had no problem beefing with his defenders on the pitch and was never shy to tell them where they'd gone wrong. Kahn was an imposing goalkeeper with excellent mental strength, and when he wasn't able to win the psychological battle with opposition strikers, he usually thwarted them with his fast reflexes. Dino Zoff. Before Gianluigi Buffon, there was Dino Zoff. He was Italy's first goalkeeping great and a big reason why the Azzurri won the '82 World Cup, despite being 40 years old. Zoff's best year was 1973, when he helped Juventus win Serie A and finish as runners-up in the European Cup. Zoff came second in the Ballon d'Or vote, missing out to the genius that was Johan Cruyff. Zoff was a solid keeper rather than a spectacular one. He commanded his penalty area and used his positional sense to narrow the angle for opposition strikers. He made hardly any mistakes and was calm and composed at all times. Like Buffon, Zoff's work ethic and dedication allowed him to play well into his 40s. He's a true goalkeeping legend. Edwin van der Sar. Manchester United struggled to replace Peter Schmeichel when he left in 1999. Mark Bosnich, Massimo Taibi and Fabian Barthez all tried and failed to live up to the Great Dane. Then in 2005, United signed Edwin van der Sar. They finally had a world-class goalkeeper at the top of his game again. Van der Sar started his career at Ajax, so it's not really a surprise that he was superb with the ball at his feet. He won the Champions League as part of Louis van Gaal's Ajax side in 1995, and then won it again with Man United 13 years later. As well as being composed in possession, Van der Sar was a world-class shot stopper with terrific positional sense. A magnificent person, a professional goalkeeper, an absolute marvellous career he's had. Alex Ferguson said of Van der Sar, he's an example to anyone who wants to become a goalkeeper. Sepp Maier. We've already covered Manuel Neuer and Oliver Kahn in this video, but they're not the only German goalkeeping legends. In fact, the first player to meet that description was Sepp Maier in the 60s and 70s. Maier made 599 appearances for Bayern Munich, the only club he ever played for. The boy from Bavaria went on to win 4 Bundesliga titles and 3 European Cups with Bayern. He was also successful at international level, helping West Germany to win the Euros and the World Cup. Maier was known as the Cat from Anzing due to his sharp reflexes and agility. He was also a commanding figure, despite only being 6'1". Maier might not be as famous as Gerd Müller or Franz Beckenbauer, but he was just as important to the Bayern and West Germany teams of his era. Gordon Banks. Gordon Banks pulled off one of the greatest saves of all time when he somehow tipped Pelé's header over the bar at the 1970 World Cup. Brazil went on to win the tournament that year, but Banks was one of the main reasons why England won the World Cup 4 years earlier in 1966. He didn't win a lot at club level, where he mostly played for Leicester and Stoke, but with his intelligent reading of the game and smart shot stopping, Banks was a truly elite goalkeeper. When Banks passed away in 2019, Pelé was one of the first people to pay tribute to him. The Brazilian wrote on Facebook, "Goalkeeping has changed a lot since Gordon and I played, but if he were playing today, he'd still be one of the very best."